Hi, I'm Jasmina, and I'm going to be reading you guys a portion of this short story I wrote. The first thing I should say is the story is like literally about zombies. Like, some people were a little bit confused. They were like, I love that metaphor you're using. No, there's actually zombies in my story. So, just so we're cool. I wrote this story. It's called Call Me Zombie. When it was winter break and I was really cold and I couldn't feel my hands and I was kind of afraid that I was going to die, so I wrote a story to make sure my hands wouldn't die. So yeah. The story is about this girl whose point of view we're going to be reading from, and this guy who y'all aren't even going to meet in this portion, and they're trying to stay alive in this post-zombie apocalyptic world. So it's about staying alive, and it's about not being dead, and it's about what that even means. So here's Call Me Zombie. He stands there, the dark sun, returning from the grave, and all I can see is the blood on his hands, and the black, moist dirt, and the rotting look in his eyes and hair. He reaches a hand up to me, begging me to pull him out of the pit he's fallen into, but I can't. I can't, you're too far down, and I can't reach you. I won't, please, just lay back down and die. Why are you coming back? I can't. Ben, I choke out as he looks at me, wounded and desperate, like he can't imagine how anyone wouldn't reach out for him. And I feel something inside me harden and turn cold, because sisters aren't supposed to be like this. I'm not supposed to be callous and cold, and why are no tears coming? Shouldn't I be at least crying as the black-red dirt clings to his skin and it drips from his hands? Shouldn't I feel something? I drum it into myself. I failed, but still nothing happens. There's just the dirt and the grass and the stench of smoke and blood and rotting flesh, and I wonder if this is how the Civil War smelled, of blood and death and decay. Did someone else stand feet away as their brother lay dying, watching as he reached out for them, watching and feeling nothing? Maybe this is how I'll die, watching him sit in his grave and shudder out his breaths, and doing nothing because I can't reach him. He's too far down and he's covered in blood and dirt, slipping and scrabbling at the edge, sliding down and grasping onto the mud, desperate to get up. I shouldn't even be standing here. I should be running, leaving him to succumb on his own, to lose the shred of whatever it is that has him looking at me like that, like he cannot believe God sent him, the only sister in the world who doesn't cry. He's still looking at me, and I know it should burn me, that tears should fall hot and thick out of my eyes like molten metal. I should cry for him, but my fingers are numb, and I am so cold. He's still staring at me, and I can't. He'll pull me down with him. I can't be pulled down with him. I can feel his black, bloody hands choking me, pulling me into the grave, turning me into one too, someone who reaches up and grabs for help to lure someone else down, and suddenly I'm unfrozen, set free, like a game of tag. I turn and I run, sprinting through the graveyard, through mist that feels like a light rain as it caresses my skin, until I burst through it and I feel cold and clammy, like his hands. I'm jumping over the smaller holes in the ground, holes dug for children, and the small, and the ones who came first, rising out of the ground like the worst sort of retribution. It was all us, all our fault, running around, thinking we were invincible, thinking that in the modern era, nothing like disease would ever be threatening, ever be more than a bedtime story to fool children into brushing their teeth. Until it became real. Until it became patient zero, and blood pouring out of the eyes of infants, wailing through the night. Until they started burying the babies in mass graves. Until we noticed that the virus mutated, taking infants 1 week and toddlers the next. Until the first 3-year-old burst out of his dirt and bit an unsuspecting widower on the knee, and the entire world collapsed in on itself. The next weeks were full of running, me and my brothers and our mom, running as fast as we could, stealing cars, standing guard every night, terrified of the monsters with innocent faces. Something looms up at me at the shadow of an angel, and I veer to the left, almost falling into another hole. I don't stop to see more than flying black dirt and smell blood, but my brain fills in the gaps, snarling, eyes filled with inhuman rage and malice, swallowed up in black. The face is always the same, though. It's Jonathan, my little brother. My responsibility, the one I held in my arms when he was born, the one I taught to apply to college and drive a stick and all the other things Ben wasn't around for. Jonathan, the look of horror on his face as the blood started pouring from his eyes, bearing Ben's admonitions to suck it up with a straight face. Jonathan, holding a gun to his head before I could stop him. 2 shots. 2 people gone. First the eyes, then the brain. That's what they'd said. So my mom saw a little blood on her eye, and she had lost her youngest son, and her husband had been dead for years. So she gave me the gun, and she told me to look away, and I shot her. I shot her because she wanted me to, and I always did what she asked, and Ben was lighting a joint, and there was no one else. I'm still running, and I'm about to reach the road. Monsters line the road, too. Monsters who reach for your breasts and your wallet in the same motion. Monsters with sadness in their eyes and beer on their breath. Monsters who have chosen to deal with it all by not giving a fuck about anything. Monsters that Ben joined right before the graveyard and the dirt. I can hear them over the rasp of my breath. They're slow shuffling, inexorable and endless, and I know Ben is among them, gaze burning into me, face a mask of desperation, inexorable, endlessly forward. I finger the weapons that hang at my belt, wondering if it will be easier to stop and turn and shoot and end it, end him once and for all, before he drags me down and makes me spill blood from my eyes like tears. I imagine it, turning and facing them all, aiming carefully, a headshot to the figure in the red, dirt-stained hoodie, and I stumble, almost falling flat. The image of his face, despair and pleading and accusation, marred by the blood and the dirt, but still mine, my fault, my death, and I can't shoot him. I can't help him, but I can't shoot him either. But I can run. I leap over the line of shrubbery lining the cemetery and onto the road, my stride lengthening as my feet find confidence in even ground. I can always run. My feet pound on the pavement, my breath coming out in short gasps until I settle into a rhythm. Tap, tap, gas, tap, tap, breathe. Breathe, okay. But I'm still so cold, and my chest is tight, and now I'm remembering the day I ran away. The day I said, fuck it, they're dead. You're not family, you're not anything, and I left. I grabbed my pistol and my knives, and I ran through the whole night because fuck, if I was going to die in a secluded corner of the woods, head in a cloud of smoke and alcohol, too wasted to even fight back when they inevitably came. I ran, and I left him, and I didn't look back. And that was the last I saw of him until tonight, when I ran into the graveyard, hoping to pull him out, hoping he wasn't gone yet. I could come back. I could still save him. But I can't, he's too gone. He's too far away, he's gone. I pick up my pace and I get faster. I'm sweating now, but the damp air is making it feel like a fever. And are those tears, or is that blood? Still I see him, dripping and covered in grime, hair matted to his head and glistening blackly in the moonlighted mist. Jonathan, eyes shut tight, bright blood tears staining his face, holding the pistol to his head. Mom, big brown eyes begging me to end it before it gets worse. The squeeze of my hand on the trigger. Dual explosions that crash down into my life like atomic bombs, destroying all, merciless and necessary. I'm running, fleeing, flying, but they're all right behind me. The flames slice through me like knives, and the coldness isn't keeping them at bay, and there's an old red barn on my left, and a dead horse on my right, and the flies swarm me, landing on my hair and biting my neck like I'm already dead. Thank you.